You wake up, you're tired, you drink coffee. For a little while, you feel human again. But by 2 or 3 p.m., you're crashing and crashing hard. The brain fog rolls in, your eyelids feel heavy, and all you can think about is another cup. So you get one. And tomorrow, the whole cycle starts over. You're not just tired. Your brain and your body are trapped in a hidden cycle, one that modern life created and perfected. This is File 003, Why You're Always Tired, the caffeine crash nobody talks about. Let's get one thing straight. Caffeine feels like it's giving you energy, but that's an illusion. Here's what's really happening inside your brain. As you go through your day, a chemical called adenosine builds up. Think of it as sleep pressure. The more adenosine you have, the sleepier you feel. It's your body's natural signal to rest. When you drink coffee, the caffeine molecules race to your brain and block the adenosine receptors. It's like putting a piece of tape over a keyhole. Adenosine can't get in, so your brain doesn't get the "you're tired" message. You feel alert, focused, and awake. But here's the catch. Your brain is smart. It notices that its adenosine signals aren't getting through, so it fights back. It starts building more adenosine receptors, basically creating more keyholes to try and catch those sleep signals. This is tolerance, and it builds incredibly fast, sometimes in just a matter of days or weeks. Suddenly, your usual 1 cup of coffee doesn't cut it anymore. You need 2, then maybe 3, just to feel the same level of alertness. What's worse is that your baseline energy level starts to drop. Without caffeine, you have all these extra, super sensitive adenosine receptors just waiting to be filled. So when you don't have that morning hit, the normal amount of adenosine feels overwhelming. Simple tasks feel exhausting. Your natural, non-caffeinated self feels sluggish and unfocused. You've become dependent on the stimulant not just to thrive, but simply to function. Now let's dive deeper into the neuroscience because it gets even more fascinating. That afternoon slump you feel? It's not just tiredness, it's a mini withdrawal. As the caffeine from your morning coffee starts to wear off, all that adenosine that's been building up comes rushing back into your newly multiplied receptors. The result is that classic crash: headache, brain fog, irritability, and an overwhelming urge for more caffeine. But it's not just about adenosine. Caffeine also messes with dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for motivation and pleasure. It gives you a short-term dopamine boost, which is why that first sip of coffee feels so good. But as the caffeine wears off, your dopamine levels dip lower than they were before. Your motivation tanks, and the world just seems a little less bright. Then there's cortisol, the stress hormone. Your body naturally releases a peak of cortisol in the morning to help you wake up. When you drink coffee first thing, you're pouring gasoline on that fire. You're amplifying that natural cortisol spike. Over time, this can lead to chronically elevated cortisol levels, which is linked to anxiety, poor sleep quality, and, ironically, more fatigue. You might have heard of adrenal fatigue, the idea that you can burn out your adrenal glands. Well, that's mostly a myth. What's really happening is HPA axis dysregulation. Your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, the command center for your stress response, gets thrown out of whack from the constant on-off cycle of stimulation. Studies have even shown that heavy caffeine users exhibit reduced activity in their prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain for planning and decision-making, when they haven't had their caffeine. Your executive function literally declines. Our modern habits are a huge part of the problem. Think about it. We finish a long day, and what do? We scroll on our phones for hours. The blue light from our screens suppresses melatonin, the hormone that helps us sleep. We get worse quality sleep, which means we wake up more tired, which means we rely even more heavily on caffeine the next day. It's a vicious cycle, compounded by stress and poor sleep hygiene. And let's talk about those energy drinks or sugary lattes. You're not just getting a caffeine hit, you're getting a massive sugar spike. This puts your body on a blood sugar roller coaster. The initial rush feels great, but the subsequent crash is monumental, leaving you feeling even more drained than before. Caffeine is also a diuretic, meaning it makes you urinate more. This can easily lead to mild dehydration, and the symptoms of dehydration, fatigue, headache, brain fog, are almost identical to the caffeine crash itself. You think you need more coffee, but what you might actually need is a glass of water. In 2026, the reality is that the average adult is consuming between 200 and 400 milligrams of caffeine every single day. Our brains simply did not evolve to handle this constant level of chemical stimulation. The real-world effects are everywhere. You hear it all the time. People saying things like, "I need 3 coffees just to function," or complaining about afternoon brain fog so thick they can't even form a coherent thought. They experience spikes of anxiety and irritability that seem to come out of nowhere, right around the time their caffeine is wearing off. This cycle is directly linked to higher rates of burnout, mood swings, and symptoms of mild dependency. In more extreme cases, we see what's clinically known as caffeine dependence. For these individuals, quitting cold turkey can lead to debilitating withdrawal symptoms, severe headaches, low mood, and profound fatigue that can last for days or even weeks. It's a genuine physical and psychological dependency. So how do you break the cycle? The good news is you can, and science shows us how. First, don't quit cold turkey. Taper off slowly. Try reducing your intake by about 25 to 50 milligrams each day. This gives your brain time to adjust its adenosine receptors and minimizes withdrawal symptoms. Next, timing is everything. Caffeine has a half-life of about 5 to 6 hours. That means if you have a coffee at 3 p.m., half of that caffeine is still in your system at 9 p.m., messing with your sleep. Make it a rule, no caffeine after 2 p.m. To help your body clear adenosine naturally, focus on fundamentals. Get bright, natural morning light in your eyes as soon as you wake up. This helps set your circadian rhythm. Regular exercise is fantastic for boosting energy, and stay hydrated. Sometimes that feeling of fatigue is just your body asking for water. Look for dopamine-friendly alternatives to get that mental boost. A quick cold shower, a diet rich in tyrosine, found in foods like almonds and avocados, or even just a short walk outside can work wonders for your focus and mood. Ultimately, the most powerful tool is sleep. Prioritize getting a consistent 7 to 9 hours every night. When you are truly rested, your reliance on caffeine will naturally decrease. Oh, and here's a fun hack: the caffeine nap. Drink a small cup of coffee and immediately take a 20-minute nap. The nap helps clear out adenosine, and you wake up just as the caffeine is kicking in. It's a powerful 1-2 punch for beating a slump. Caffeine isn't the enemy, it's a powerful tool when used correctly. But in our nonstop productivity-obsessed modern world, we've turned it into a crutch that hides a deeper, more systemic fatigue. The real sustainable energy we're all looking for doesn't come from a cup. It comes from rest, from rhythm, and from finding balance, not from endless stimulation. So ask yourself, how much of your tired is actually caffeine talking? File 003 closed. Your energy is waiting to be reclaimed.